The next couple of months are looking incredible for gamers. August and September are packed with major releases, and with GTA's massive launch getting closer, publishers are making sure their biggest games hit the market before all the attention shifts. That means we're about to see one of the busiest release windows of the year. So, just like every month, we've rounded up the biggest games arriving over the next few weeks. From blockbuster sequels and exciting new IPs to a few hidden gems that deserve your attention. These are the titles you'll want to keep on your radar. Let's jump straight into the countdown. Starting off at number 10 is S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2, Cost of Hope, the first major expansion for S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2, Heart of Cornabill. If you've spent any time exploring the dangerous zone, you already know that hope isn't exactly the first word that comes to mind. Every step is filled with radiation, deadly anomalies, and creatures that can end your journey in seconds, making the expansion's title feel surprisingly appropriate. Instead of acting as a sequel or a prequel, Cost of Hope tells a new story that unfolds alongside the main campaign. That means you'll experience a different perspective on events happening inside the zone while uncovering new characters, missions, and conflicts that expand the world rather than simply continuing it. One of the biggest focuses this time is the long-running rivalry between the Duty and Freedom factions. Duty believes the zone is too dangerous to exist and should eventually be destroyed, while Freedom argues that it should be studied, understood, and preserved because of its unique nature. Those opposing philosophies have always been a major part of the S.T.A.L.K.E.R universe, and this expansion finally puts that conflict front and center. According to the developers, this isn't a small DLC packed with a handful of side missions. It's being designed as a massive non-linear expansion with an entirely new storyline, meaningful choices, and enough content to keep players exploring for dozens of hours. If you loved wandering through the haunting landscapes of Heart of Chernobyl, this looks like the perfect reason to return. New locations, fresh encounters, and another dangerous journey into the zone should make this one easy to recommend for longtime fans. S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2. Cost of Hope arrives on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series XS, and PC on August 31st. Coming in at number 9, we have Remnants, A Plague Tale Legacy, a brand new prequel that takes players back into the dark and unforgiving world of the Plague Tale series. Rather than following Amisha once again, this story shifts the spotlight to Sophia, the fearless smuggler, introduced in A Plague Tale, Requiem. Set around 15 years before the events of that game, the prequel explores Sophia's younger days, revealing how she became the hardened survivor fans came to know. From what we've seen so far, she's more impulsive, more aggressive, and much more willing to fight her way through danger. That change in protagonist also brings a noticeable shift in gameplay. The previous Plague Tale games were built around stealth, survival, and carefully avoiding overwhelming threats. Every encounter demanded patience, and the terrifying swarms of rats were often something you escaped rather than confronted. This time, however, the action appears to play a much bigger role. Combat looks faster, encounters seem more intense, and the overall experience feels more aggressive than anything the series has attempted before. Whether that direction ends up being an improvement is still something we'll have to wait and see. Personally, I really enjoyed the earlier games because of their tense atmosphere and unique style, so I'm curious to see how this new approach balances action with the storytelling that made the franchise stand out in the first place. Even with those questions, I have a lot of confidence in the developers. They have already proven they know how to deliver emotional stories alongside memorable gameplay, so I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what this prequel has to offer. Remnants, A Plague Tale Legacy launches on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series XS, and PC on August 27th, making it one of the biggest releases to watch this month. Taking the number 8 spot is The Sinking City 2, the next chapter from Frogwares that once again dives into a world inspired by cosmic horror. This time, players are transported to a cursed city in the 1920s, where rising floodwaters have transformed once busy streets into a haunting nightmare. Every neighborhood hides strange secrets, and terrifying eldritch creatures roam the ruins, turning even simple exploration into a dangerous gamble. One of the biggest changes is the game's direction. While the original The Sinking City focused heavily on detective work, clue gathering, and solving supernatural mysteries, the sequel shifts much further toward full survival horror. Resources are limited, enemies are more aggressive, and every encounter is designed to keep players under constant pressure. Combat also appears to play a much larger role than before. Instead of avoiding danger whenever possible, you'll need to carefully decide when to fight, when to conserve ammunition, and when escaping is the smartest option. That balance between exploration, survival. The good news for newcomers is that you won't need to play the first game to understand what's happening. Frogwares has confirmed that this is a standalone story with a brand new cast and narrative, making it easy for anyone to jump in. That said, I'd still recommend giving the original a try because it delivered some genuinely memorable moments. From everything shown so far though, The Sinking City 2 looks darker, more polished, and far more focused on horror than its predecessor. It even gives off a few strong Alan Wake 2 vibes, which is definitely a promising sign. If the developers can successfully combine psychological horror with tense survival mechanics, this could become one of the standout horror games of the year. The Sinking City 2 launches on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC on August 18th, landing at number 7, Duskfade, a game that feels like a love letter to the golden era of 3D platformers. If you grew up playing classics during the PlayStation 2 generation, this is probably going to catch your attention almost immediately. The adventure takes you inside a mysterious clock tower, where your mission is to rescue your sister while breaking a curse that has trapped the entire world beneath an endless night. It's a simple but intriguing setup that perfectly matches the colorful fantasy worlds that made classic platformers so memorable. From the very first gameplay footage, it's easy to spot the inspiration. Games like Jak and Daxter and Ratchet & Clank clearly influenced the overall design, but Duskfade doesn't feel like it's simply copying old ideas. Instead, it looks like it's building on that foundation with modern visuals, smoother movement, and faster gameplay. Traversal appears to be one of the game's biggest strengths. You'll be sprinting across environments, chaining together jumps, grappling across huge gaps, gliding through the air, and seamlessly transitioning into fast-paced combat. The movement alone looks satisfying enough to keep players engaged from beginning to end. The developers have even embraced the comparisons, with many people calling it a spiritual successor to the PS2 platforming classics. But after watching more gameplay, it feels like Duskfade has enough original ideas to create its own identity instead of living in someone else's shadow. There's already a playable demo available, and while I haven't spent much time with it yet, my first impression has been extremely positive. Everything from the world design to the responsive movement suggests this could end up being one of the biggest surprises of the month. If you're looking for a modern platformer that captures the charm of the classics while introducing fresh mechanics, this is definitely one to keep an eye on. Duskfade launches on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X or S, Nintendo Switch 2, and PC on August 13th. Taking the number 6 spot is Mortal Shell 2, the long-awaited sequel to the 2020 Souls-like RPG. The first game introduced some creative ideas and built a loyal fanbase, but many players felt it stopped just short of reaching the level of the genre's biggest names. From everything shown so far, the sequel looks determined to close that gap. One of the series' most unique features is returning. Instead of creating a traditional character with fixed stats, you'll continue taking control of powerful fallen warriors known as shells. Each shell comes with its own strengths, weaknesses, abilities, and combat style, allowing you to completely change the way you approach battles simply by switching bodies. That signature mechanic remains at the center of the experience, but almost every surrounding system appears to have been expanded. Combat looks smoother and more responsive. Weapons seem to offer greater variety. Progression has been deepened, and enemy encounters appear more dynamic than before. Perhaps the biggest change, though, is the world itself. Rather than moving through relatively contained areas, players will explore a much larger interconnected world filled with hidden paths, optional locations, powerful enemies, and rewards waiting to be discovered. Personally, I think that's exactly what this series needed. Exploration has always been one of the defining strengths of the best Souls-style games. It's not just about defeating difficult bosses, it's about wandering into unknown places, uncovering secrets, finding shortcuts, and constantly feeling rewarded for your curiosity. According to the developers, exploration will play a much bigger role throughout the adventure, encouraging players to venture off the main path instead of simply moving from one objective to the next. A beta is already available for anyone who wants an early look, but I'm planning to wait until the complete version launches. I'd rather experience everything for the first time as the developers intended. So far, nearly every early preview has been overwhelmingly positive, suggesting this sequel improves on the original in almost every area. If that holds true, Mortal Shell 2 could easily become one of the strongest Souls-like releases of the year. Mortal Shell 2 launches on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, and PC on August 20th. Breaking into the top 5, Star Wars: Zero Company, a game that's basically a dream project for fans of tactical strategy games. Imagine the deep turn-based gameplay of XCOM combined with the the legendary Star Wars universe. That's exactly the experience this game is aiming to deliver. Developed by Bit Reactor and published by EA, the game takes place during the final years of the Clone Wars. You'll command an elite squad known as Zero Company, stepping into the role of a former Republic officer tasked with leading dangerous missions across the galaxy in an all-new cinematic storyline created specifically for this game. Everything revealed so far points toward a true tactical experience. Every mission appears to reward careful planning, smart positioning, squad management, and strategic decision-making rather than fast reflexes alone. Success will depend on how well you use your team and adapt to changing battlefield conditions. I'm not expecting the game to completely reinvent the strategy genre, but honestly, it doesn't have to. Simply bringing polished XCOM-style gameplay into the Star Wars universe is already enough to make this one incredibly exciting. This is actually something many Star Wars fans have wanted for years. A modern tactical strategy game that fully embraces turn-based combat instead of focusing only on action. From what we've seen, Zero Company looks like it's finally delivering exactly that. Whether you're a longtime strategy fan or simply love Star Wars, this is shaping up to be one of the most interesting releases of the month. Star Wars: Zero Company launches on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, and PC on August 27th, and it's easily one of the strategy games I'm looking forward to the most. Coming in at number 4 is Marvel Tokon: Fighting Souls, a brand new 4v4 tag team fighting game from the legendary developers at Arc System Works. If you're a longtime fan of Marvel vs. Capcom, enjoy fast-paced competitive fighters, or simply love Marvel superheroes, this game should already be on your radar. From everything revealed so far, it looks like Arc System Works is bringing its signature style to one of the biggest superhero franchises in the world. One of the first things that stands out is the presentation. Arc System Works has built a reputation for creating some of the most visually impressive fighting games ever made, and that talent is on full display here. The bold anime-inspired visuals, fluid character animations, and explosive special attacks give every battle an incredible amount of personality. What's even more impressive is how naturally that artistic style fits Marvel's heroes and villains. Characters look powerful, expressive, and larger than life while still remaining instantly recognizable. It feels like a fresh interpretation, rather than simply recreating what we've already seen in previous Marvel fighting games. Gameplay revolves around building a team of 4 fighters and switching between them during battle, opening the door for devastating combos, strategic assists, and constant momentum shifts. Team composition will likely play a huge role, giving players countless ways to experiment with different character combinations. The project is also being developed in collaboration with PlayStation Studios, with PlayStation handling publishing duties. Because of that partnership, the game is skipping Xbox and will instead launch exclusively on PlayStation 5 and PC. Everything shown so far suggests this could become one of the biggest fighting game releases of the year. Whether you're playing competitively or just looking for spectacular superhero battles, Marvel Tokon: Fighting Souls looks like it's going to deliver plenty of excitement. The game launches on August 6th, and it's definitely one I'll be jumping into on day one. We're down to the top 3, and taking the number 3 spot, Pax Autocratica, and it's easily one of the most unusual games on this month's lineup. It's not every day you see a colony management simulator combined with a roguelite first-person shooter, but somehow this game manages to blend those very different genres into a single experience. At the center of the game is your growing nation. You'll build settlements, expand your territory, manage resources, and shape the lives of your citizens. Every decision you make influences how your society develops, creating a government that reflects your leadership style. What makes things especially interesting is the amount of control you have over your population. You can maintain order through surveillance, propaganda, fear, and strict authority, creating an oppressive regime that keeps everyone in line. On the other hand, you can choose a completely different philosophy by investing in prosperity, public welfare, and stability to earn loyalty through trust instead of intimidation. Those choices aren't just cosmetic. They directly affect how your citizens respond. A happy population may become fiercely loyal, while an unhappy unhappy one could eventually rebel, forcing you to deal with the consequences of your leadership. When diplomacy fails, the game shifts into fast-paced first-person combat. Instead of simply watching events unfold from above, you'll personally take part in battles, defending your territory, or launching attacks against rival forces. The FPS gameplay has a frantic, bullet hell-inspired style that adds another layer of intensity to the overall experience. I'm especially interested to see how well these management systems connect with the action gameplay. If the developers can successfully combine both sides of the experience, this could end up being one of the most original strategy games we've seen in quite some time. There's already a demo available, although I haven't had the opportunity to try it yet. Even so, the concept alone is unique enough to earn a place on this list. Pax Autocratica launches exclusively on PC on August 10th. Just missing the top spot is Hell Let Loose, Vietnam. And for me, this is one of the most exciting multiplayer releases of the month. If you've played the original Hell Let Loose, you already know what makes the series special. Massive 50 versus 50 battles, realistic teamwork, tactical communication, and intense firefights combine to create one of the most immersive military shooters available today. That core formula isn't going anywhere, but the setting is changing dramatically. Instead of returning to the battlefields of World War II, this standalone title transports players to the Vietnam War, a conflict that demanded completely different strategies, equipment, and combat tactics. The dense jungles, winding rivers, mountain terrain, and hidden enemy positions completely change how battles unfold. Visibility becomes limited, ambushes are far more common, and teamwork becomes even more important if your squad wants to survive. Another major difference is the asymmetrical gameplay. The opposing forces don't simply mirror each other with different uniforms. Both the US Armed Forces and the North Vietnamese Army have their own strengths, equipment, and tactical advantages, forcing players to adapt depending on which side they're fighting for. That's one of the reasons I'm so interested in this project. Rather than feeling like a simple expansion or reskin, it looks like a completely fresh experience built around the same realistic military foundation that made the original game so popular. It's also worth mentioning that this isn't replacing the original Hell Let Loose. The World War II version will continue to receive support, while Vietnam exists as its own standalone experience. If the developers successfully capture the unique atmosphere and unpredictable nature of jungle warfare, this could become one of the most immersive tactical shooters we've seen in years. Hell Let Loose. Vietnam launches on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, XS, and PC on August 13th. And it's easily my most anticipated multiplayer game of the month. Claiming the #1 spot is Beast of Reincarnation, a brand new action RPG from Game Freak, the studio famous for creating the Pokemon franchise. That's exactly what makes this project so fascinating. After spending decades developing monster collecting adventures, the team is stepping into completely new territory with a dark, cinematic action RPG that feels nothing like the games they're traditionally known for. You play as Emma, a skilled warrior traveling across a ruined version of Japan alongside her loyal canine companion Ku. Their relationship is at the heart of the adventure, but don't expect a peaceful journey. The world has been devastated by mysterious disasters, ancient curses, and terrifying supernatural creatures, turning every region into a dangerous place to explore. Combat appears to be fast, fluid, and heavily focused on action, requiring players to dodge, strike, and react quickly during intense encounters. Q isn't simply following you around either. Your companion plays an important role throughout both exploration and combat, creating a partnership that feels central to the overall experience. Visually, the game has been one of the biggest surprises of the year. The environments are beautifully detailed, the creature designs are striking, and the overall atmosphere combines fantasy with post-apocalyptic themes in a way that immediately stands out. Perhaps the biggest reason I'm excited, though, is seeing Game Freak take such a bold, creative risk. It's refreshing to watch a studio known almost exclusively for one franchise branch out and attempt something completely different. That alone makes Beast of Reincarnation one of the most intriguing releases on this list. If the final game delivers on everything shown so far, this could easily become Game Freak's most ambitious project outside of Pokemon. Beast of Reincarnation launches on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, S.T.A.L.K.E.R, and PC on August 4th, and it's easily one of the biggest games I'll be keeping an eye on this month. Before wrapping up, Here are a few extra games that deserve a quick mention. First is Mafia, The Old Country, Man of Honor, a new story expansion that adds 2 additional campaign chapters along with fresh free ride content. If you enjoyed the base game, this expansion looks like a great excuse to return to its crime-filled world. I had a fantastic time with the original release, and this new content seems like a natural continuation for anyone wanting more of that classic Mafia atmosphere. The expansion launches on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X or S, and PC on August 14th. Sports fans also have Madden NFL 27 to look forward to. This year's biggest headline is a brand new game engine designed to improve gameplay and overall realism. The developers are also expanding franchise mode with a deeper personality system, allowing players to react differently depending on performance, team chemistry, and events throughout the season. Whether those additions become meaningful improvements or simply add extra complexity remains to be seen, but they're certainly the biggest features to watch this year. Madden NFL 27 launches on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series XS, Nintendo Switch 2, and PC on August 13th. Next up is Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 2. This package includes Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns of the Patriots, Metal Gear Solid, Peace Walker, and Metal Gear Ghost Babel. For many fans though, the biggest attraction is finally seeing Metal Gear Solid 4 arrive on modern hardware. After spending years locked to the PlayStation 3, players can finally experience one of the franchise's most important entries without relying on older consoles or unofficial solutions. Whether you're revisiting these classics or playing them for the first time, this collection offers a much more convenient way to experience some of gaming's most influential stealth adventures. The collection launches on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series XS, Nintendo Switch 2, and PC on August 27th. Another title worth keeping an eye on is Big Walk, the latest game from House, the creators of Untitled Goose Game. This time the studio is heading in a completely different direction, with a cooperative adventure focused on teamwork, communication, and puzzle solving. I've even heard people describe it as a friendship test disguised as a charming co-op game, which honestly sounds pretty accurate if the puzzles are as challenging as they appear. Considering how creative House's previous game was, I'm more than willing to give this one a chance. Big Walk launches on Steam, Nintendo Switch 2, and PlayStation 5 on August 4th. The final bonus game is Rivage, a sci-fi puzzle adventure set aboard an abandoned space station. You awaken completely alone inside a mysterious anomaly, and must uncover what happened to the missing crew, while solving environmental puzzles based around gravity manipulation, magnetic fields, and exploration. Its isolated setting definitely creates a few Dead Space vibes, but don't expect a survival horror shooter. Instead, the focus is on atmosphere, mystery, and clever puzzle design. If you're looking for a slower-paced science fiction adventure rather than non-stop action, Rivage could be worth checking out. The game launches on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, and PC on August 13th. And that wraps up our list of the biggest games arriving this month. Now I want to hear from you. Which game are you planning to play first? Is there a title on this list you're counting down the days for, or is there another upcoming release you think deserves a mention? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read as many of them as I can, and I'm always interested to see what everyone is excited about. If you enjoyed this countdown, don't forget to leave a like because it really helps the channel grow. And if you are new here, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss our latest videos. We cover the biggest gaming news, upcoming releases, hidden gems, and countdowns all year long. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, happy gaming!